Welcome to another episode of the Men in Scoring Position Podcast. I'm your resident runner on second, Bill Kyrus, joined by the only man not to bike here, so he's smelling pretty decent. He's known around here as the runner on third because he's always about to score. Travis Binns. Travis, how are you?
I'm doing great, brother. How are you?
Good. A little sweaty. It's hot. It's unseasonably warm outside.
You are pretty sweaty today, and that's why I'm sitting all the way over here. I actually have like a chair that I can just
Hashtag
move.
YouTube. Check us out.
Check us out on YouTube. Guys, speaking of which, if you're a first-time listener, we are the Men in Scoring Position Podcast. We are a sports-related podcast.
Sports adjacent.
Sports adjacent, if you will. You can find us on any one of our social media platforms, Facebook, SoundCloud, iTunes, all self-titled Men in Scoring Position. You can also find us on Twitter at Snapchat at Men in Scoring POS. Feel free to email us any of your thoughts, comments, general overall points of view to meninscoringpod@gmail.com. And we are exclusively through YouTube, guys. Billy, what do they always need to do?
Rate, review, subscribe, and tell a friend.
A plethora.
Cornucopia,
Tell
if you
somebody.
will. Oh,
Tell somebody. Well, that lovely voice.
let's tell someone else.
Let's tell somebody.
Tell somebody.
Guys, we have our sports enthusiast.
If you see something, say something.
Bill, I'm tired of hearing the sound of my own voice. Why don't you introduce our guest?
Perfect. This is a good friend of ours, Stephen Hoover. Stephen, how are you?
Steven,
What's up, guys?
welcome.
How we doing?
Local-
Good friend, huh? I was gonna say these are my acquaintances, but that's
All
fine.
right,
We
well,
can be,
ruin
you know,
the illusion.
All right,
That just got
it's
awkward.
fine.
I was going to
Yeah.
say local comedy phenom,
Yeah,
host
yeah.
of, or
All right, I'll take
co-host,
that.
Boy Girl Sleepover. Is that one of you?
Yeah,
on
that
your
is.
things?
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Every other Wednesday.
Do some of your plugs. Let our listeners know what you're all about. And
But before they hear you talk.
Before
so that
they
way,
hear you talk.
Right.
If they
You're
just
right.
stop
So
right here.
If you just stop here.
Be
we do-
overzealous.
Exactly. Well, I do run a stand-up comedy show at the Pony Inn. It's every other Wednesday called Boy Girl Sleepover. We actually have our third show this coming Wednesday, so if you guys want
Congrats.
to check that. I forget we're on tape here.
Yeah.
I'm like looking at this.
You know
Go
what
ahead.
I heard? Third time's the charm.
That is it. This guy knows things. This guy knows
Going
stuff.
Going places, guys. Going places. And Pony Inn, where is that located?
It's right off Belmont and Ashland.
Nice.
So I'm not sure the exact address, but you can look it up.
It's right
and it's
there.
a big time like Blackhawks bar.
Nice.
You guys are
Yeah.
into that.
Hockey
so,
is hockey is coming in.
Hockey is
season.
a sport.
Yeah, they've come there with the
Sports ball.
with the trophy.
Oh, wow.
The old Stanley
Oh,
Cup.
so it's an official Blackhawks
It's
bar.
it's an official Blackhawks
Nice.
bar.
Yeah, there's like
so.
so yeah, with those official, like I think they have to carry certain beer and certain memorabilia, and they have to like
They have to pay dues. I mean, I know in college, like if they're official college bar, they have to pay dues to the alumni association.
nice.
Right.
I don't necessarily know if they have to pay dues to the Blackhawks. Kinda
Pay-
weird.
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
peasants.
Hey, here's yeah.
Oh, you want this? Your Stanley Cup. You want this? No. You
No,
want
sorry.
This?
Pay
No,
us.
no.
It's a racket.
Fuck you, pay me.
I want to say, but more relevant to our podcast, that you do host your own podcast.
I do. I host a kind of it's like the Daily Show, but for fantasy football. It's called Calling It Now podcast with Frank Calhoun, where I have a guy named Frank Calhoun who hosts it. Yeah,
We
Will-
actually
will
like
Frank-
this guy,
man.
Frank, a little more
Will
than you.
Frank
just
be
saying.
gracing us? I heard there was a rumor on the street that he's going to be gracing us with his presence.
Yeah, he's
at some
outside getting pumped up right now. He's
Nice.
doing lines and getting real jacked
point.
up.
Whoa! This is a family-friendly
Doing
podcast.
some
No,
toe raises.
yeah,
Gotta
exactly.
get juice calves. I get
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Just running gear.
really getting jacked up. He's a little excitable, so it's going to be an interesting.
All right. Well, maybe he can grace us a little bit later. Huh?
Yeah, he'll come and
Awesome.
drop some fantasy knowledge.
Yeah. Heads up, guys. Today we are going to specifically doing NFL related, when it fantasy projections, love, hate, so on and so forth.
Ooh,
so
trivia later,
do
too.
some
Play
trivia
some fun
later.
games.
Oh, trivia fun.
Yeah.
So just a
fun
heads
stuff.
up, if you're looking for any like MLB or any of that today,
Get
please
out!
Get the
Oh,
fuck
sorry.
out! No,
Yeah.
but still listen,
That's
please. There goes my
And
mouth.
subscribe.
And subscribe. Rate,
And tell
review.
your friends.
Tell your friends.
Yeah.
Alright.
Gets it.
Alright.
Yeah, gets it. We don't even have to promo anymore.
No,
Just
that's
bring in
it.
Stephen Hoover. All right. So where are we going, boys? How are we gonna? how
Well,
are we gonna
actually, I
start
thought
this
a
off?
little anecdote
Okay.
story that I heard last night. So I work at a
That's right.
steakhouse
interesting.
downtown.
I'm just gonna put
I was talking to these guys, and they remember that in the 2002 Super Bowl, the Raiders played the Buccaneers. One of the big things that happened out of it was the day of the center, Barrett Robbins, the starting center for the Raiders, went missing. They couldn't find him anywhere, right? So they ended up playing the game with their backup center, and as a result, they changed the playbook from what they had been doing throughout the playoffs to what they had been doing when John Gruden was there, because this center only knew those snap calls. Apparently, that's the story, right?
Okay.
So
It's finicky.
So it's finicky at best. So they find Barrett Robbins a few days later. I mean, it sounds pretty tragic. Like, apparently he's bipolar. He's off his meds. They found him in Tijuana, Mexico, on like a coke binge. And all
Sounds
this
like
stuff.
somebody I'd like to hang out
I
with.
mean, he's off his meds. He's on other meds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the story was that he just, went off his meds, little bipolar, left it, whatever, and it was pretty sad. This guy comes in last night, right? He starts talking about the tuck rule game. So immediately I'm like, I'm busy behind the bar making drinks, and I hear him talking about tuck rule game. And I just, instantly like, all right, this guy I can talk to, right? He's telling this whole story about how he was at the game. And then I was like, oh, yeah, Woodson coming on the blitz, blah, 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 taking it out. Greg Beaker, recovers the fumble. And then he's like, yeah, I was at the game. And then Vinatieri iced the 2 field goals. And he starts talking about, he's like, then the next year, he starts talking about how he became really good friends with John Ritchie, who was the fullback of the Raiders at the time. Now, what he said was that John Ritchie allowed him to pretend to be his agent. So, like, they'd go to a bar, and, like, that was his way to pick up chicks. So he's
Really?
like, John Ritchie would be like, oh, that's my agent, whatever. So that was his way to pick up chicks, right?
All right.
So he says the 2 nights before Super Bowl and night before Super Bowl, they go out, right? And they go to the bar, and it's a couple of teammates, but it's he said mainly the 2 guys he remembers being there are John Ritchie, because that's his friend,
Right.
and Barrett Robbins. And he said Barrett Robbins kind of in the corner, whatever. He sees Barrett Robbins eyeing this girl. Not related. He didn't not like Barrett Robbins, whatever, but he starts chatting this girl up. This is the gentleman at the bar.
Right.
He ends up having a little fun with her, makes out with her, right in front of Barrett Robbins. He says Barrett Robbins
Nice.
storms out and leaves, and they don't see him again. So the claim this gentleman made last night was that he's the reason the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl.
I'm kind of speechless.
I was
I don't really have
like,
anything.
this is one of my favorite stories of all time. I was like, that was one of the. I mean, I was. What,
So let me get this
02, I was
straight.
14 years old. I'm the biggest Buccaneers fan. It was one of the greatest moments, whatever.
Right.
Right.
And then you get some
I remember that
closure.
Super
And this guy, there's.
Did you
plenty
shake his
closer.
I mean, I would be
I
shaking
said,
his hand.
God
giving him a
damn
hug.
it, sir, I love you.
Here's a steak. Bam. So wait, time out. So you have closure now. Let me get this straight. You have closure.
I had closure, baby.
because you eavesdropped on a guy in a bar.
I didn't eavesdrop. No, he started talking. No, sir, no eavesdropping.
I'm just saying.
I
I'm
walked
just
over.
saying.
I introduced myself after the first couple times. Said I'm Bill. I'm not going to give his name because that was one of the requirements.
Sure.
Was I did not give the gentleman's name.
Sure.
But so he just telling us
Fill in
stories.
you hear that, listeners? Fill in the blank.
Yeah,
Find out
I'd
who's
say
buddies of John Ritchie.
Fill in the blank.
Oh,
He's
hint,
winking.
hint.
He's winking
That
for
was
the
a wink.
podcast.
That's a legit
What?
wink.
He's winking.
That's crazy. And
Yeah.
you have like the craziest bar stories. Like Steven, there was this one time he was telling me a story. He used to work at another fine tiki establishment where apparently this guy was a total like narcissistic liar.
So
Yeah.
have we told this one on the podcast?
No, I don't believe we have.
Okay,
We
so
got time.
this is another one. I was working at another bar at the time, and it was like a slow Thursday night. Now, the thing that you should try to remember at this point was we just had a meeting that day, and one of the things that the owner stressed was not to have our cell phones out. Like, that was a big thing. He's like, if I catch you on your cell phone, whatever, you're done for the day. Basically, like, you either fired or you're suspended. So that's important for this.
Yeah.
Sure.
So this guy comes in, right, and he sits at the bar, like, I don't know, maybe 6 foot, like, definitely looked, the part, whatever, had his glasses on. Kind of looked like Ron Rivera, a little bit, right?
Okay.
And
So
after...
tall, gorgeous,
Yeah,
Mexican American.
one of those.
Shirtless.
You pick.
Just sexy.
Very,
He just
not
called-
much hair, but like just enough.
He just called himself Riverboat. He had the old man strength. He definitely built the Panama Canal.
Right. Right.
So...
It's got that weird muscle right here, whatever this is.
Yeah.
You know.
The old man muscle. Yeah, these are all things that I noticed the second you walked in.
minute.
So then he sits down at the bar, and then I'm working the door, and after a little while, one of the bartenders comes up to me and goes, oh, it's crazy. I was like, what? He's like, that guy said he played football at Auburn. And I was like, oh, shit, that's really cool. And he's like, no, like, he said he played football with Bo Jackson. We're like,
All right.
I mean, just everyone, at least our age or maybe a little older, like,
Yeah.
the lore of Bo Jackson. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
just to be in his
Crab
presence
apples.
is... Crab apples.
Crab
yes.
apples.
Absolutely. So we're all like, oh, man, that's so cool. And like I said, I looked at him, and he looked the part, right? So,
Yeah.
like, I walk over after a little while, and I'm kind of, like, eavesdropping, trying to, like, make my way in the conversation to be like,
Loser.
at one- so I basically stand at the edge of the bar and
Just
start
laughing
smiling.
at
Just
Yeah.
inching over, right? Am I right?
Totally.
So then,
Me too. Me too.
Right. What are we talking about?
so then, guys, I have friends, I swear. So after a while, like, I walk up, I was like, hey, man, I'm really sorry to bother you, but, I heard you play with Bo Jackson as well, so, that's really cool. Is there anyway, maybe you could tell me like a Bo Jackson story. You know, like anything you
buy you a drink or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, in exchange for you talking to me, I will buy you a drink.
Right.
Yeah. I just want to hear about
It's
Bo
all about
Jackson.
gracing presence on this podcast. Like, that's just what we do.
call it the Bend the Knee podcast.
Bend the Knee, yeah,
exactly. So
Jon Snow will never be against.
so that after a while, so I ask him, you know, hey, can you tell me a story? And he's like, yeah, sure, absolutely. So then he starts in this whole story about him, Bo Jackson, and Cornelius Biscuit Bennett. I remember him. He's like, we're at a hotel, and I was like, this is not the story I was looking for, but okay, like, cool, whatever. All right,
We fucked.
so then,
got a bit crazy.
Got a
so
little
then
wild.
I was like, because I even prefaced it, I was like, any super athletic story you have with him doing, I don't know,
Super athletic story.
like quadruple flips or something. I don't know, something cool, right?
It's not Superman.
And then so, have you seen the 30 for 30?
I have.
He's kind of super
Crab
at it.
apples.
Crab apples. So he starts the story about how they're at a hotel, and then this girl's like eyeing Bo Jackson at the time, and he gets this whole thing about how Bo said, or like the girl wanted to have sex with Bo, and then Bo would only do it if he could have phone sex with his wife at the time, and while that was going on, this gentleman said he took her in the shower, like all this like weird stuff that A, I did not want to know, and B, like that was not what I was looking for, and I was like, that was really weird, because I asked
Abort.
it's just like Audible sports.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Grenada. Oh fuck! Damn it.
Seattle.
Omaha. I was waiting for it.
And then so like after a while I was like, all right, that was pretty weird. And then I go back and I started talking to another guy about him, and I was like, you know, and then Brent comes by later. He's like, yeah. And then he said he played for the Dolphins. I was like, holy shit, that means he played with Bo Jackson and Dan Marino. I was
Right.
like, so I walk up and I started asking him about, you know, Dan Marino. So I was like, okay,
Don Shula,
you know,
yeah.
maybe this will like, you know, I'm like, this is a little odd, but and then he starts talking about Dan Marino and just like he's like, you'd be on the sideline while he's practicing, and you just hear the ball come off his hand like every time he threw it. So I was like, okay, legitimate, like I get that, right? And then so later I was like, but that was so the Bo Jackson thing just didn't sit with me right. So then after a while I go up to Brent to ask, as the bartender, ask for the gentleman's name, and he's like, I don't want to look in front of him because the guy's kind of sitting at the bar, but he's like, I think it starts with an M or a B or something. So like one of those. So I started looking up like Auburn quarterbacks, right? After a while, because I was like, you know, fuck it. Like, this is worth it to make it, to look it up. So I'm kind of like in the corner trying to look it up.
Guys like that need to get called out.
Well, then like no one like even close to that name. And I was like, oh, maybe like he was not necessarily on the team.
Like
maybe
a
he was like,
walk-on,
yeah, whatever.
you know,
or he had a
kinda-
pen name.
I
you know.
go through. Yes.
Yes.
They had pen
Only
name.
weirdos
Hemingway, you know.
go by names.
Go by their own names.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he had a
yeah.
nickname.
Yeah.
So I go through like I forget the years, but it was like 82, 83, 84, 84. Like nothing.
Right.
And I was like, all right, well, let me look at the Dolphins, right?
Yeah.
Nothing. I didn't even go practice squad, like, you know, those years going out. And I was like, this is really weird. And then so eventually the guy goes up to sing karaoke. At the time, I asked Brent to just look at the guy's credit card, so you know, whatever for the name. And then my buddy,
I feel like we're crossing into that realm of illegal now. That has to be illegal.
Can we bleep that out, man?
This was over 7 years ago, so the statute
This
of
was-
limitations
yeah.
has passed.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So,
If it works for bankruptcy,
Yeah.
it's fine for this story.
so we finally get his full name. We Google it. The first thing that pops up is New Orleans man arrested for check fraud for $50,000.
Did you? Now let me ask you a question because I don't remember.
What's so
Did
funny
you
is
call
that-
him out?
No. So the entire time that I forgot to mention was that the bartender was going to New Orleans that week or the week after for Jazz Fest, and the guy had said he lived in New Orleans and was like telling him all these places to go, and like also Brent's like, this guy's pretty cool, right? So I was also not trying to call him out. It's like, oh, Brent's like getting stuff from him because the guy's like, oh, just go here, drop my name, go here, drop my name, and it's just, the first thing that pops up is local. So apparently,
Local bullshitter.
so apparently it was he had started a charity golf game and then said all the proceeds were going to go to charity and like only like a quarter of them went to charity.
Yeah. You know, and Steven, I know you don't know the guy Brent that he's talking about, but like Brent's a pretty like very soft-spoken, knows his shit on sports, and like if you get over on him, like kudos to you. You know what I mean? He's not one of those. He's not
at the
gullible.
end, he goes, "I just wanted free beer at Jazz Fest, man."
What a piece of shit. And you know, like, it's the loudest guy in the room.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? It's
Well, no, the
always
thing
the
was
case.
that it was with him though. He was obviously been doing this for years, or at least had that thing down because
Rope you
he
in.
wasn't loud. He was very soft spoken, and he would just say just enough. Like he was there for like 2 or 3 hours before we actually like started looking him up. Like, and he'd tell like just enough of the stories to be like, well, maybe I shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, this guy's legit.
Yeah.
He was a pre-internet con.
Exactly.
You know,
no,
like,
I'm saying that
yeah.
nowadays, like
Yeah.
literally looked him up by
You
his
gotta
name.
be
That's a
Right.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Like that has to be a thing, like a pre-internet like there's a whole generation of those.
So
Exactly.
there was life before the internet. So
I'm not, dude. We're doing like a podcast. Like, I got a fancy mic. It's crazy. We got fucking TVs. It's nuts.
we got TV.
We're
We got
legit.
TVs. Yeah.
So-
Wi-Fi? What?
Yeah, I know. It's wild.
Where is it? I don't even see it.
You want to talk
all
Where
about
are the wires?
all around.
That
you.
is a good segue, though. We could talk some very new age stuff because I don't think there was fantasy football prior to the internet, was there?
I'm pretty sure there was.
I
was,
mean,
like,
there was
rotisserie
spreadsheets.
and-
Yeah, there was rotisserie
You
leagues,
just put them in and they're just.
But you
suck
had to
them
be
right
like
up.
at the bar, like with the
Like
pieces of
super
paper.
nerd.
Yeah, like
Super
marking
nerd.
it down with your.
It wasn't super nerd. Just all they had.
Well, that's what we are. We
Oh.
are fucking nerds.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah.
Not make
nerd,
no
damn
mistake.
it.
If you do fantasy, you're the ultimate nerd.
Yeah.
It's true. It's all math.
I feel like we're
it's all math.
insulting her.
A lot of dick, but a lot of math.
No, but call a spade a spade. You know what I mean?
Every
Like,
podcast with you.
fucking nerd.
We want to talk about something that recently happened too last night.
Yes,
The
yes.
What
one
happened
Thursday
last
night
night?
game that was actually it looked
Entertaining.
I remember saying before I was like we should get rid of Thursday night football. It sucks. Like there's only like 2
Dude,
days.
the fucking
3 days of
Rams
rest,
and the
like,
Niners.
The Rams and the Niners both with
Barn burner.
apparently not so great defenses.
Yeah. What was
but
the final score? 41-39.
Well, it's on
40
behind us.
Oh yeah,
41,
41-39.
39.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would say it's roughly
that.
41-39.
Off, just roughly, there was a coach possibly looking down.
I think the over/under for the game was like 35.
Yeah, I think there
It
was,
was
a
something
kickoff
crazy
that
like that.
ensued, maybe like an onside.
I mean, I don't think it helped that it was the very first play. Hoyer throws a pick or a fumble, and then they
Yeah.
get the ball on the 2, and I was like, oh, here's a Gurley touchdown. And
know.
the Rams, I mean, the Niners' defense was not very good, and I want to preface this by saying, like, I think people should calm down about the Rams. I've heard a few people saying, like, they're going to win the West and all this stuff. They've played some really bad teams to start, but that I think McVay has brought a fresh angle to that offense. He's using Gurley. His usage rate is really high, like we were talking about
It's
right before.
super high usage rate. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Gurley, he's a low efficient player. Like his efficiency is super low, but his volume, if he's going to touch the ball 25 to 30 times a game, he's one of the most valuable assets.
And
you
that
can
now
have.
he's catching passes out of the backfield. I think he had 5 catches yesterday
Well, I think it
when
was-
he just wasn't catching passes last year.
Right. Well, and then again, I think it's systemic with coaching.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I mean, that's just. It's how are you going to utilize a guy? You know, like you had Terrell Pryor, and then you move him to wide receiver, and you put him on the Browns, and he goes off, and it's like, what? You know, there's these anomaly-esque players that you just don't really realize. But Gurley obviously has the hype behind him.
Yeah.
It's just wow, he can catch. He's got hands.
Yeah, and then,
You
I mean,
know.
adding Andrew Whitworth, adding a few pieces of that offensive line, which was really bad last year. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, they showed it last night, too, in the game. Goff's release time has gone down by, like, a couple tenths of a second, which is a really big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their line is great this year.
Yeah.
Goff has still been bad under pressure, but if he gets time, he's throwing dimes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been
There's
throwing.
a reason he was the first overall. pick,
Exactly.
You know, so.
And they added a guy that I don't necessarily like, but they added Sammy Watkins, who at the very least
Which is bizarre.
has a burner, aspect to him. I mean,
Yeah.
because they added before that it was Robert Woods.
Yeah,
Everyone's
Robert
like, oh,
Woods.
Robert Woods might be a sleeper. It's like, no, it's
Exactly.
fucking Robert Woods.
Cooper Cup.
It's
Super
very
Cup's
bizarre
out,
that
yeah.
like people kind of turned on Sammy, because he was just this highly touted, highly drafted, highly.
I mean, like, I don't hate him, like, as a person. I
it's
don't
just no.
turn on him.
We have crossed the realm of like Sammy Watkins. Like that's almost like that Kenny.
When
Britt
before we
discussion.
used to go, Sammy Watkins.
Sammy Watkins,
Yeah.
and now we're just like, Sammy Watkins.
It's all about inflection.
Well, that
over
foot
here,
injury,
Steve.
man. I
Yeah.
mean, it
Well,
stuck
it's-
with him for 2 years. You know, it's one of those things that really sours a whole fantasy community on him, where
Yeah.
you're just like, I don't trust this guy at all. Is he
Bunch of
even gonna
nerds
play?
turning, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Bunch of nerds turning.
I mean,
Yeah.
and then once he got traded to the Rams, his stock dropped even farther.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
'cause
this one was.
They were a dumpster fire to start
He had
off.
2
Yeah.
touchdowns. I mean, he had a rather good game, but again, he's not. I don't think
They
they're
lined
gonna-
him up in the backfield.
They're going to play
too.
the Niners again this year, but other than that, I mean, they still have to play Seattle twice. They still have to play
He left the game with a concussion too.
Yeah, which
So,
is never good. I mean,
Right.
nowadays in the concussion protocol.
Luckily, they have 10 days between now and their next game. I think they play Dallas next.
I would personally say now is the time to trade Sammy Watkins if anyone is like gunning for him or like.
Or if you want to trade rape somebody,
you could. Yeah, sure. If you want to get the best value you can out of him, I think now would be the time.
I
to
still
do it.
think you can get pretty good value on Sammy Watkins, even if you want to trade for him. Like I don't think it's.
Yeah,
because
you're
his
right.
first
Right.
2 games were not that great,
Yeah.
and then he comes in and everybody put up points last night. So
Yeah.
it's not like it was, out of this realm.
yeah, I mean Hoyer, Goff, Hyde,
Hoyer had
who I
like
had Hyde
3
last year,
Hyde,
and
yeah.
I'm like, anybody who drafted Hyde, I'm like, you're an idiot, but like, obviously not. I mean,
Yeah.
he was insane. Gurley was insane.
Mm-hmm.
Cup's been efficient.
Cup last night, and we'll get into this in a little bit. Cup, unfortunately,
Yeah.
was like the one player
Not
doing
doing
any
anything.
points.
Right.
But he did have that awesome pick.
Oh, yeah.
with Watkins, which was something that.
But I mean, that's a big thing for Watkins too. Is that play was designed for him at the 1 yard line,
For
which
sure.
is if you're going to design end zone targets for a guy like that, that's big. But I think you can still get him at like a wide receiver 3 price if you're trading for him.
Absolutely, I'd agree.
Trading him away, if someone's really into him, go ahead and do it.
Yeah, or like you have a
tattoo
Bills
or
fan that's like
poster, yeah.
just nostalgic. And
Yeah,
you're like,
exactly.
hey, buddy.
nostalgic for the 8 and 8 years.
The 8 and 8
Yeah.
The Doug Marone years.
Yeah,
Clemson fan, who
Sorry,
knows?
Doug
Yeah.
Marone year.
the Rex Ryans,
Sure,
one,
yeah.
one of your favorites.
You want to bank on that Bills nostalgia of
Dude.
them not making the playoffs
Dude,
for 25
they are.
years.
Oh man. Anyway, yeah, that game was wild, man. It was funny because I actually Men in Scoring Position on our Facebook page. We posted. You like that little plug?
Yeah, we plug our own podcast.
We
That's how you gotta do it. I mean,
You really have to.
that's all I do.
Is
Is
that
it's an
what-
oversaturated market.
yell
Steven.
my name on my podcast.
Listen here, Stephen Hoover and Billy Kyrus. But we posted something like, "Who's excited for Thursday night football?" And it was like just like a sleeping like, "Oh my god, what a fucking
Yeah.
snooze fest."
So it's
And it could-
ironic.
It's very ironic.
So like, who's excited?
See, I
It's
missed
like,
this.
no wonder it's an ironic meme.
Yeah.
It was an
Me, man.
Alanis Morissette, if you will.
So it's not really ironic.
Yes.
Ever.
All right, let's get into it. Let's
Sure.
do.
You want to do fantasy? I believe he's got a friend.
Well, yeah,
outside.
you do. Where's your tuned up friend?
Yeah, he's in the hallway. I mean, can you hear him yelling? It might not be able to pick up on the mic, but I think he's yelling at you.
He's a-
neighbors.
no-
All right,
No more lines.
how about this? Let's take a quick break and we'll bring in Frank Calhoun.
Ronnie J, listen up. I am the one your time.
We're back.
It's me.
Sir? All right, first of all, we are back with our new guest, Frank Calhoun. Frank, how are you, my man?
I am very good. I'm feeling very good. I was just out in the hallway. I was getting jacked up. My friend Steven, one of my producers, told me that this was going to be a big opportunity for me and a bigger opportunity for you guys. So congratulations for having me.
Congratulations. Damn it.
We feel
Thank
blessed.
you.
We
Yes.
feel blessed. I mean, it's just
As
it's-
you should.
Are we the peasants now?
Yes, we are. We are bending the knee.
We are.
So, Frank, I know you're super excited about fantasy, and I promise,
Calm down,
I promise
Frank.
you,
Yes.
Frank, I promise you, we will get to that.
I want to talk
I thought-
fantasy.
okay, Frank, I thought
Right.
we'd talk a little about the NFL just in general. A few matchups we're excited to see.
I can do NFL in general,
you can.
but I'll throw some fantasy spin on there.
I
How about
like
that?
it. Okay, all right.
I can do it. You
right.
know
He's
what?
setting
I'm
the
very
tone,
malleable,
baby.
but I'm doing this thing.
Sure,
He's
you're like a
setting the
soft
tone.
metal, so you're
It's all right.
You're
You
hard,
can,
but you're malleable at the same time.
If you guys like what I'm saying, which there's no chance that you don't, you can follow me on Twitter at @TheFrankCalhoun, and also look at I am a writer now for the TD Fantasy Network, so go to tdfantasynetwork.com, check out my weekly column, Studs and Duds, which is a weekly review.
That's a great name.
That is
Yeah.
very
How come
good.
we don't think of stuff like
We
that?
have one. So I thought one of the matchups I'm super excited to watch is the Seattle Seahawks versus the Tennessee Titans. Boys, what's your take on that one? You guys excited?
I find it really interesting. As I've been saying, like up until this is week 3, obviously. Titans are just an interesting team to me. I feel like they're just like tall, built. There's nothing, It's weird. It's
You're
very
obsessed
weird.
with
I'm
their
obsessed
bodies.
with dude. Like, and it's like
Titans.
Derrick Henry, is an interesting,
He looks like he's going to be the workhorse this week.
It does.
DeMarco Murray's got the hamstring thing going on, and
Yeah.
And Carlos Hyde, he tore up the Seahawks last week pretty good. So I feel like
Yeah.
Derrick Henry is one of those guys that if he is on your bench, I would definitely be starting him this week as far as that matchup goes. I am so pissed. Can I tell you how pissed I am?
All right,
I'm
tell me.
pissed
Tell me.
Tell us.
I'm excited.
at the Seahawks. I am so angry with the Seahawks.
Why?
Because they are one of the worst offensives in football this year, and it's really disgraceful. Their offensive line is so
Terrible.
bad.
It's funny. Year after year, it's this weird thing where they say they're going to fix it, and then it's like, oh, just give Darren Bevel like a few weeks, and he'll figure it out.
Right.
But they keep losing guys. The only one they've drafted, Jermaine Ifedi, who's a pretty okay guard, but they lost Sweezy. They lost a couple guys on the line, and they just think they can replace him with these scrubs, and then it takes them a few weeks, and they kind of rally around the defense, and they win the West at 10-6 or something. You know,
Right. Come October, they'll be right. And
Yeah.
But the first two games, Russell Wilson, every single play has been running for his life. It's
Yeah.
basically street ball. It's NFL blitz out
He's
there.
still putting up
It's
like
NFL street out
220
there.
yards
Yeah.
though a game, which I find fascinating because he's got like 2 seconds a snap. You know.
Yeah.
I was looking up when you were bringing up Hyde. He was allowed 77 yards on 15 touches, which is
I wouldn't say it was allowed. Well, I guess allowed.
allowed.
Yeah, he's allowed it.
Yeah. Not in our house.
It's like, okay.
Not in our house.
Stop now, though. Thank you. That's all you get.
was it.
I'm looking forward to see if the Titans are actually a decent team. Same with the Seahawks, if they can fix that offensive line at all. I think the Titans have an okay pass rush. I mean, Jarrell Casey up the middle is always going to be a little tough to block.
Right.
And then Seahawks figuring out their running back situation. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Chris Carson.
Right.
Like, pretty sure. And then Pro-Size hasn't even really played, so I
Yeah.
think Lacey's out.
He's been he was a healthy scratch last week.
I mean, how healthy is he? That's rude. I'm sorry.
I dropped Lacey. I picked him up in like the
completely
later
reasonable.
rounds just to see like, hey, is it gonna work out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I saw everything I needed to see after week 2.
Another
mean-
player I like in this game, sorry to interrupt,
No,
not
go
really
ahead.
though, is Rashard Matthews. Corey Davis is looking to be out this week. I'm liking
Yeah.
Rashard Matthews. He was their number one wide receiver last year. He's got some play with Mariota. Eric Decker hasn't looked right. I think if anyone's going to be catching passes there this weekend, it's going to be Rashard Matthews.
Yeah, and they're tight end too. Delaney Walker, but then Jonnu Smith had a touchdown last week, which was pretty exciting to see because I think he's going to be a really good tight end going in the future. Another matchup I think we're all excited to see. Atlanta versus the Lions. Both teams are 2-0. The Falcons got off to a little bit of a rough start, I'd say. They looked right last game. There's something to be said that the Packers were missing both of their starting tackles, and Jordy Nelson got hurt. There's something to say about that. But the
I think Cobb
offense,
went out later in the game too.
their offense looked pretty decent. Freeman looked really good. Coleman looked good. Julio Jones is Julio Jones. Matt Ryan doesn't necessarily look as good as he did last year. I mean, then again, last year was his MVP season.
You have to bring up the
250,
fact they're one of the most
touchdowns.
underrated running games. Everybody talks about their vertical threat, but they have a 1-2 punch back there. Man.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really, really solid.
Was that the best one too?
Well, I'm really hoping for fantasy purposes that it's McCaffrey and
John Stewart.
and
It's
Jonathan
not.
Stewart,
It's
but
not.
it's not looking that way thus
No.
far. That's going to be. I think that's going to be either like it's what you think it's going to be on paper, an aired out game, or it's going to be a weird defensive battle.
Well, that's the thing is that the Falcons do have the skills on defense. They have the quick safeties. They have the fastest athletic linebackers. Vic Beasley's going to be out, so that's going to be a little hamper on their pass rush. But I think the Falcons have a good defense. And the Lions, oddly, have had a good defense the past couple of years. And they clearly have changed since they lost Calvin Johnson, where they're not like an aired out type.
Right.
But
But
then
Golden
their
Tate's
their
productive.
running back stinks
Golden
too.
Tate.
Like
Golden
it's
Tate's, and then
weird.
Marvin Jones
Yeah.
is my guy. I really think he's going
I
to be a
love Marvin
fantasy
Jones this year.
sleeper this year.
He trained
So-
with Randy Moss in the offseason. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys
So
saw
he
that.
range
I
like
did
just run
see that.
straight. He's
Just
like,
run
wait a minute.
straight,
Run
jump
straight.
high,
Make
and,
incredible catches.
Wait, you
exactly.
can't do that? You can't.
Hey,
Can't
did you
run
see
a
his
4-2?
touchdown last week?
Yeah,
It was-
Yeah.
I
Nice.
love Marvin Jones. There are two
Yeah.
guys that I really like. I'm all in on like a flex option, and it's John Brown and Marvin Jones. Now John Brown, obviously, with with injury, barring injury,
Yeah.
I think he's
And
one
then,
of those
yeah.
guys that has tremendous fantasy upside potential. But he's not one. I wouldn't put him in the. wide
I'm
receiver
just
one.
excited, like just fantasy aside, just to watch this matchup to see
Yeah.
if Detroit is, the team from last year, aka the reverse San Diego Chargers, where they can win every game late.
There's a San Diego Chargers plug. Listen,
Yeah.
Frank, we got to bring you up to speed.
Okay.
So you don't understand, but you go learn
He's
today.
gonna slightly over exaggerate this. Just now.
All right, so William, my lovely co-host,
Yes.
is
exaggeration.
secretly obsessed with the San Diego Chargers. Always has
Sorry,
been.
LA Chargers.
Oh, the
Every
LA
time.
Chargers. excuse
LA
me.
Chargers.
LA Chargers. He loves Phillip Rivers.
I
Thinks
like
he's a
the
first
Rivers.
ballot Hall of Famer.
I never said that. I say he's going to make the Hall of Fame.
Loves Keenan Allen.
I think
Thinks
great.
injury is a part or is a skill, but gives
Well,
a pass
injury's
to
not a skill.
Keenan.
Health is a skill.
Health is a skill.
Injury's not a skill at all.
Can I ask you this, William?
Yeah.
Do you own a bolo tie?
Franklin? No, I do not.
You do not.
Then you're
All
not a-
Then you're not. You're
by
not as
default.
deeply. Yeah, exactly.
Not as
I'm not
invested.
that deep down the
Do you
rabbit hole.
think his?
He
do you
thinks
think
that
his
Monte
bust
Teo has
will
a
have
girlfriend.
a bolo tie on it when he gets
should.
into the Hall of Fame?
Good God, I hope so.
It
Good-
should.
good
It definitely 100%.
If there's
should.
anything, I mean, the fact Joe Namath isn't shrouded in a fur coat bothers me.
How many children does Phillip Rivers have now?
Enough.
9?
Enough.
12?
He has too many.
It's a lot.
He's
His
got.
poor wife.
He's got more than. Yeah. Okay. He's got a lot.
We're crossing into the realm of gross, gentlemen.
Can I ask you guys something? One thing about this matchup. What do you think of Ebron this week? Do you think a fluke? Was it a fluke last week?
That one's tough. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a fluke, but there's all these tight ends there who have a lot of talent that you necessarily just can't keep him on the field because he can't really block.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's tough that he's like, and another guy that I'm interested in is Evan Ingram for the Giants, but I think that's the same mold. He's a big, strong, fast, athletic tight end who can't block, or at least is not good enough to
And you also
start
have to
in a
look at-
one tight end set. He's got to be a 2 tight end set if you're running, or if you're passing. I mean, he's going to line up more in the slot, so he's just a big wide receiver.
And you have to look at offensive schemes too.
Yeah.
Like if they're going to use their tight end. And a lot of teams, majority of teams don't use their tight ends the way that, especially with fantasy players, want them to be used. There's maybe 3 guys, you know, and it's Eifert when he's healthy, Travis Kelce, Rob Gronkowski when he's healthy. And those
Greg
are the
Olsen,
guys.
yeah.
And Greg Olsen. You know, so it's very an undersaturated tight end class.
I mean, he might be a fun option, but then again, I mean, I think the Falcons have fast outside linebackers, and they have Keanu Neal prowling, you know, over the top, and I mean, he can just get lit up. Like that's not someone I'm really interested in seeing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will
So
say
fluke,
I'm excited
right?
about Theo Riddick this game. He's a guy that
Riddick.
I'm really liking this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who did the Falcons play week 1? I don't remember.
Bears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been lit up by receiving backs the
Yeah.
last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They had
Yeah.
Tariq Cohen, or
Yeah.
Tariq Cohen.
Tariq Cohen.
Come
Say
out
it
and get
right.
8
Say it right, Frank.
receptions, 120 yards.
Yeah.
And then last week they had
I actually
Ty
have
Montgomery.
a stat right here that you guys might find interesting pertaining to this. The Falcons gave up 14 catches for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns to Tariq Cohen and Mike Montgomery total.
There you go. Ty Montgomery. Get
Ty
it right.
Montgomery. What did I say? Did I say Mike Montgomery?
You did.
Sorry, guys. That's a little Cubs plug right there. You like that?
Mike Montgomery, bring it in the lefty.
Good old lefty. Bring
the
him in.
lefty.
Bring him in.
I don't know what you're talking about. I do not watch baseball.
So I think
Frank's
I was not
Frank's
going
limited.
to talk
we have
baseball.
one more matchup. I think one of us is way more excited to talk about than anyone else. So
Speaking of Tariq Cohen,
Speaking of Tariq, nice segue, gentlemen. Nice
Thank you.
segue.
Thank you.
Yeah, the Bears, man. For the guys on this podcast that listen to it, I got some interesting stats here
not
for
for the
you.
people who don't.
Not for the people that don't listen
if
to
you
this
don't
podcast.
listen,
that
then
don't listen.
you know what? Just
don't
get out of
listen.
here.
Just get out of here.
All right, Bears, Steelers. I think we all know how this is going to pan out.
Yes.
But we will see. Our leaders are Glennon, Cohen, and Kendall Wright. Kendall Wright is injured. Mm-hmm. Glennon's numbers are eye-popping. His favorite number is 2, gentlemen. He's got 514 yards total. He's got 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles. He's got a
triple
quarterback.
twofer.
He's a twofer.
So we call it a
triple
triple deuce.
Yeah, in 2 games. So that means if you break it down, he's good for 1 fumble, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception
Sure,
a game.
yeah.
He's 57 for 85 attempts. He's got an 81.2 quarterback rating. He fucking sucks. Put in Trubisky. Let the kid get lit up. Who gives a shit at this point? It's an automatic L. And Fox, I know what he's doing, but this isn't the fan base to do it with. You do not sit Trubisky this
Do
week.
not fuck
Don't
with
do
the
it. I know
Bears
he's trying to
fan base.
You
protect
don't
him.
trade up 1 pick and trade so many assets.
Which
That
we did get
wasn't
some of
so
them.
many
We did get some
assets.
back.
You
We
guys
did get
are
some
silly
back.
with that. It wasn't that.
Still,
big
it's
of a
1
trade.
pick. You didn't think he was going to be there at 3. I know you guys have probably gone into this.
Listen,
before, but-
a lot of people don't realize Lynch was gunning for Trubisky. The general manager of the Niners, And that he said, like, out loud, this is what we were going to do, and this was the price they were willing to pay. And I'm okay with it.
It made sense, especially the rumor mill that you bring in a guy like Kyle Shanahan for the Niners to run their offense, and he's a quarterback guru, whatever you want to call him.
I hate that term.
Okay, he's a quarterback
Guy.
teacher
Of guru.
teacher.
Yeah, he plays the coaching position.
But
of
Glennon's
quarterback.
not good.
And the fact that, sorry to interrupt, but the
Glennon
fact that
is
not-
Trubisky was, well, him and Mahomes probably had, the most talent, I think, coming out as far as athletically. So, like, it made sense that they thought the Niners were going to take him. But then again, maybe you should have thought, like, wait, if they're trading down, maybe they don't like him as much. But if that's your guy
Well, he
and you're going
subsequently-
for it, that's okay. I also think that they should not start him, but we've
No,
talked about this
and
multiple
I
times.
do too, to a certain degree. You have to understand the Chicago fan base is very, very fickle. You've said this and
Yeah,
stated this.
no shit.
We don't fuck around, and you can't produce. I mean, the fact that we gave him a guaranteed $18.5 million for 1 year baffles me. I think there were a lot of other guys that we could have thrown into that place. Glennon, yeah. He's not good. He's scared. He looked okay against the Falcons, and we had a lot of drops, and we'll get into that. But Glennon is a bum. He should be arrested for thievery. Moving on, Tariq Cohen.
So wait, you're excited for this game then?
No, fuck. Tariq Cohen. This is a guy that
Glennon is a pure athlete. I don't know if you've seen pictures of him.
God, and he's such an easy target, like tall, lanky, lumpy, no chin,
What
fucking
is he?
soulless.
You're the one that brings that up every time.
Because he is. If he fucking sucks. If he looked like
Everyone else is saying it.
listen, no, I'm saying
I
it.
still can't believe the Bucks let him walk. To be honest, that's
Seriously. Tariq Cohen,
He said he
everybody's
was
excited.
leaving for the night. We're like, yeah, go ahead.
Moving on. Tariq Cohen, second most fantasy points among running backs, 6.6 yards a carry. He has the big play potential. I think his longest was 46 yards. He's also a PPR stud. He's got 16 receptions for 102 yards and a touchdown. He's awesome. And then our leading receiver is Kendall Wright. 10 receptions for 103, but that's neither here nor there because he's got no touchdowns and he's injured. Defensively, we got a lot of injuries, man. Our leading tackler is Eddie Jackson. I know a lot of Bears fans don't even know who the fuck that is. He's our safety. He's got 11 tackles, 10 solo. Keem Hicks has got 2 sacks, but he's out with injury. And Leonard Floyd needs to step up, man. He's got
papers.
hey, dude, you told me to put
You're
stats
prepared,
down.
bro.
I'm prepared.
I love it.
All right, Leonard Floyd, you need to step up, man. First round draft pick. He's got 3 solo tackles, 3 assisted. I don't know how the Bears are using you, but you need to. You're a pass rusher. Be a pass rusher. Injuries, man, notable. We got Prince Amukamara, Deion Bush, Akeem Hicks, Kyle Long, Josh Sitton, Marcus Wheaton, and Kendall Wright. But I think Marcus Wheaton's supposed to be coming back. We'll see. And I never, as a Bears fan, get excited for wide receivers coming back because they just do not produce.
Has Wheaton done anything in the
Nothing.
2 years that they've had him? I don't think he played much last year.
Nothing.
And then
Our guy that we picked up that we were excited about and then we ended up cutting was Eddie Royal.
Right.
We also brought in this year
Right.
Victor Cruz, and he just got hit with the
He did
injury bug,
nothing.
so we had to get rid of him. He was good preseason,
Cameron
but
Meredith.
Cameron Meredith,
So
I love
sad.
him, man.
Yeah.
He is a man amongst boys.
Yeah.
So yeah, not too excited. On the other end, you guys break down
Zach
Pittsburgh.
Miller, though. I feel like Zach Miller.
He's a journeyman.
No?
He's a
All
journeyman injury prone tight end.
I mean,
Adam Sheehan will be
The
great.
one hope that the Bears have
Shaheen.
is Ben Roethlisberger's road splits. He
Yeah.
is horrible on the road. He usually, I don't know what it is with him, but when he's not in Pittsburgh,
because
he
he can't
doesn't
get his
play
Permanente
well.
brothers the night before.
But
Right.
are we
It is.
talking? Are we talking possible rape or no rape? Because if he's a
Jesus.
little rapey, he's usually good. Is that too much, guys? Did we go
Smell
too
good
far?
to
Is it not enough?
Is it
That
not?
is-
Frank, you tell us.
You heard it here first.
He's a married man now, guys. Okay,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
redeemed himself in the eyes of the Lord.
So
Sure.
I mean, there's what's to say about Pittsburgh? I mean, like you're perfect with Roethlisberger on the road. I mean, you have Lev Bell still there. You have Antonio
Who
Brown.
hasn't
You have
done anything
Martavis
this
Bryant,
year.
who hasn't. But I think we were talking to a friend of ours, and shout out Nick DeRizzo, and he was like, "Oh, I guess playing in the preseason doesn't help at all. Like the fact that he sat out the entire preseason, the fact he didn't get all those reps, the fact that he knows what he's doing, but at the same time, like you still need to get in that flow and that
He
rhythm.
hasn't had those big plays. that
Especially
he,
he's such a rhythm runner though too. Like he's not a hit the hole guy. He's a kind of wait and see and then feel.
Well,
he's
when
like
you
an
think
instinctual
patience.
guy.
He's got that
Patience is the
yeah.
number one word.
So like with him, maybe he's just not. He hasn't gotten there yet as far as like feeling the flow.
Dude, he's
of the
going
game.
against the Bears, man, and we lost our best tackle. So I think he's going to have a huge.
You guys are okay as far as the
The run.
Run defense goes.
Yeah.
The pass defense, a little rush.
The best
Or a
thing,
little,
the best thing for
little
the
bad.
Bears would be to just lose out.
Yeah.
just
keep draft picking.
Just get those draft picks. Get rid of John Fox.
My big now you don't like Fox, right?
I
do
John
like
Fox.
Fox, but I will say that he subsequently sealed his demise by not starting Trubisky this game. And as a football fan, I understand why that would be. As somebody like if you from a coaching aspect, it makes perfect sense. Don't throw him out there to the wolves, right? But this isn't baseball. It's not like if you throw.
Not?
It's not. It's actually football.
Wrong sport.
It's wild,
All
right?
I'm out.
But
See
you
you
don't.
guys.
I don't think you're going to really damage his development if you throw him out there because all the kid knows how to do is win. In the preseason, he was amazing. In college, he was good. I know it was a couple games, but neither here nor there.
I mean,
He's-
that's a very blanket statement. All he knows how to do is win. He was 8-5 in college.
But
It's
I
not
mean-
like he
At least he's
knows how
mobile.
to lose. At least he understands.
He's got
no,
an
but
already
at this
of
level,
loss.
is what
Let
I'm
him make
saying.
some mistakes. The Bears aren't doing anything this year, anyways.
Yeah.
I say you throw him out there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just give him the Deshaun Kaiser treatment. Let him go out there. Let him make some mistakes.
Yeah.
But the problem is
Well,
they don't
we're already
have.
going to back him up. We have him for 4 years. I mean, it's not like he's
Yeah.
going anywhere.
Exactly.
So
I disagree. I think you throw a guy
mean,
out
look
there
at-
and you can shake his confidence.
Look
So I
at
think
Wentz
that's-
and Goff this year compared to last year. I mean, neither of them looked super great last year, and they come in as a full off season
Yeah.
as starter.
absolutely prepared. They got the rust, if you will, the jitters, all
Yeah.
that stuff. So
But is there something to be said about him sitting the entire season and then him going to the next season knowing he's the number one quarterback and getting all the reps in the preseason, getting all the reps in training camp, getting all the reps, and then
yeah,
learning
but
the
Glennon's
playbook.
not doing anything though.
But
He's
then
not doing
what's-
anything that Trubisky couldn't do. Slants over the middle or an out route.
What is the major difference
hand-
between Glennon and Tom Savage? I don't really know.
Tom Savage
And
doesn't
Tom
have a big
Savage
arm.
got benched 2 quarters into the season.
Yeah, I don't even know why.
No, but
why would you
but
even
that's a
bring
team-
Tom
but
Savage
that's a team
up?
that
This is not a
thinks-
Tom
but
Savage podcast.
I'm just saying, Deshaun Watson is in the fire now, and he doesn't look great.
Yeah.
But at least he's out there. He's learning things. He's
Right.
inaccurate, but he's
And he
running.
won.
And
Well,
he's
he
won a
won.
game.
He
Because
won a
Houston
game.
thinks they're going to make the playoffs this year. The Bears have no chance to make basically no chance to make the playoffs. So why
That hurt.
throw him
That
out
hurt a
there
little
where you
bit.
can totally ruin his psyche?
But I don't
and
think
his
you can.
mind?
I disagree. I don't.
You
think
don't
If he's
think he
that
can?
weak to ruin his psyche,
he should
he's
be
not
he
the
should
fucking
step
quarterback
up.
anyway.
But
Guys
okay, so why
are very
why
mean.
baby a Trubisky, but then throw
Why baby Trubisky?
why
The old
baby
saying.
Trubisky, but
why
you throw
baby
out these
Trubisky?
guys? What makes Deshaun Kaiser different than Trubisky? You know what I mean? Or like
Yeah.
you threw and there's good and there's bad tails. You got the Andrew Lucks, and then you have the Robert Griffins. So it's like
Well, he was
when
an
do you-
injury guy more than
Right.
anything,
So
yeah.
it's like why I just don't understand. I understand with baseball the whole process. But with football, he's the guy. He's the number 2 overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
Throw him out there. You know what I think it is I think that their master plan of Glennon at least winning a couple games and nurturing Trubisky into 2018 season is not panning out, and everyone's turning on it. And it's
Well,
just
you guys
he
also
doesn't-
played 2 games. I mean, like he's got no wide receivers. He's got
does have no wide
Shaheen
receivers.
coming out. Jordan Howard got hurt. The Falcons are the defending NFC champions. The Bucks are the team on the up and coming with a pretty solid defense.
Yeah.
You guys got housed, but I mean it was a momentum thing. And then first couple ones, Glennon made a bad choice, interception, touchdown. I wouldn't say. I don't think you guys will be very good, but at the same time, Glennon can still keep you in the games moving forward. And I think just throwing Trubisky in there, I think that's just a recipe for disaster. When Josh Sitton's out, you have no left tackle. Howard's hurt. Cohen's the only guy you can really check down to, and Shaheen isn't ready. So what's the point of throwing him out there with no talent around him? Kaiser, I guess the argument is that at least he has a little bit of talent around him.
So you would argue to say that the Cleveland Browns have more talent than the Chicago Bears?
Yes, their offensive line at the very least
Yeah.
is much better. With
Yeah,
Joe
I mean,
Thomas,
we do-
J.C. Treader.
We do have an injury bug. We do, and
I'm just
it's
saying,
addressed.
for me, there's just no reason
It's
personally to throw him out there other than
The Browns'
for
leading receiver
seasons-
last week was a guy that was on the practice squad the
Yeah.
week before, Rashard Higgins.
Yeah, but
I
if
mean,
you look at Fox's track record with the Bears thus far, granted, like they were in the whole rebuilding process. Everybody, as a football fan, you realize and you can see, okay, they're just shedding all this fat. They're getting rid of all the old
cutting
era.
their carbs.
They're cutting their
Right.
carbs.
hitting the cardio. I
No
get it.
brown rice. Do some cardio, but
You know what
but
I'm
at a
talking
certain
about,
point, you're just tired
Working
of
out,
losing.
I just
All we do
mentally
is lose.
weight.
Yeah, you get tired. You
You're
get tired
just
of
so
losing.
right all the time. You think so hard that the pounds just come
Exactly.
off. Yeah, I feel you.
I'm tired of 3-13 seasons.
I know.
I'm
buddy.
over it.
I know, buddy.
I'm fucking done.
All right, moving on.
And Trubisky could be that spark. And you
Sure.
don't know the kind of rapport that he has with Shaheen. How do we know Shaheen's not ready? Maybe they learn together, they grow together, like Romo and Witten. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be.
Maybe.
God, I hope we don't get a
I
Romo.
say throw
though.
him in there, man.
Throw him in there.
Dak Prescott him.
Disagree.
Fuck yes.
Different scenarios. All right, so I thought we'd talk a little
Scenario or
fantasy.
scenario?
Scenarios.
Scenar.
Why would that be scenario? Okay,
Fantasy.
Save big money at Synards.
You say it right though. You plug our fantasy right.
Time for a little feeling fine.
Riding the pine.
We're riding the pine.
All right.
So I thought we'd start with our little fantasy. Not a little, sorry. Largest, I don't know. Whatever.
All right, you are physically
inches.
larger than I am.
With
I
our
will
little
take
buddy.
that.
With our little buddy, Frank Calhoun. Frank, give us a few people that you like this week.
Are we going to start at quarterback, or is there
You can
a
do whatever
specific
you want,
position
buddy.
we want to start at? All right, we're going to start
You're
at
the
quarterback
expert.
then. So a couple guys I like this week. I feel like as some streamers, some guys you might fit in there because we've had some quarterbacks that haven't panned out too well. Deshaun Kaiser, loving Deshaun Kaiser.
Speak
this
of
week.
the
Love it.
devil,
Love it.
Deshaun Kaiser.
Love it. I
Going
had the
in
same
against
guy.
the Colts. I mean, I feel like he's going to put up some points. He's a guy
Right
that's
here.
probably on your waiver wire, or if you're playing DraftKings, I don't know what his price is exactly, but it's probably not too high. And
can
especially
start
since
him.
he put up 2 points last week.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to be on 1 point. All right, I guess it depends on your format. But, you know, I like Deshaun Kaiser a lot. Another guy I like going into this week who might be a sore person for Bears fans, Jay Cutler.
Oh.
I like Jay Cutler this week, and I like Phillip Rivers. I like
fucking
Phillip
invited
Rivers.
this
a lot.
Phillip Rivers. Let's go, baby.
I want to piggyback your Kaiser, man. I got some
Yeah.
interesting fantasy
Jump
information
on, right?
here.
Your legs are strong. Piggyback them.
Let's do it. So Wentz is the only quarterback to attempt more deep passes than Kaiser. No QB has thrown greater percentage of his passes, at least 20 yards, with a 22.9 completion. With the Browns, that's impressive. The Browns are allowing him to take these big shots. He's 5 for 14 with 135 yards and 1 interception when he does do that. The Colts also allowed 650 yards to Goff and Palmer. So he's got big QB1
Right.
upside, man. I really like it. And like you said, it costs nothing. And he's probably sitting on the
Yeah,
waiver
he's probably
wire
sitting on the
pickup.
waiver wire. If you have a guy with a bad matchup this week, you know, I would. There's some bad matchups this week. I would play Deshaun Kaiser, especially if you're doing like DraftKings or FanDuel or something like that. Throw him in your lineup.
Right.
It probably will be a low ownership percentage.
Sure, yeah. So in the ESPN Standards leagues, he's projected at 16.
Yeah.
Do you think that's reasonable? Do you think he can go
Yeah.
above that, below that?
I definitely think he could beat that
I
projection.
think he has the potential to do a 22, 25-point game.
Sure.
But even 16, I don't know how you guys feel about quarterbacks. I think that's a sufficient number to put up.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
absolutely.
decent.
So-
That's a decent game. The QB that I like this week, I mean, it's obvious it's based on matchup. It's a guy who hasn't looked very good this year, but I mean, one last time, trying Cam Newton out. They're playing the Saints.
I'm right there with you.
I mean, so my projections are based on I think they're going to go higher than what they're projected to. So that's Cam Newton's projected at 19. I think he can easily have a 25-point game against this defense.
Do you
that
have
just
him in
is
any of your
terrible.
leads? I have him on both my leagues.
I have
I've
a lot of
started
I
him.
think this is my last week with him.
Yeah.
If
This
he
is-
thought he's done.
that's what I was saying.
I have Wentz on the bench, so both of my leagues I have
Wentz on the bench.
I have Newton and Wentz, and Wentz, and every week I see Wentz putting up 20, 22
Yeah.
points, and Cam that shoulder injury is really
Yeah.
fucking.
He
with
had
him.
no preseason. He barely threw in the preseason. He threw 2 passes in the one preseason game that he actually played. I have him. I was really high on him coming into the year. I thought he was going to bounce
Yep.
back and
Yep.
look closer to his 2015 form than 2016 form. If it wasn't for this matchup this weekend, I would say he's droppable. But he has New Orleans. This is the last shot.
Yep, agreed.
And then they have New England the next week, so he could if he does
Absolutely.
well.
Agreed.
He's one of
So
those
basically,
guys
we're
that-
all on Newton this week for the simple fact that he's playing the Saints.
That's
Yes,
it. It's
that's
it's
it.
a matchup based play. Cam Newton is a streamer to me now. He's not that top 5 stud
Not
that
the
he had
MVP
been.
2 years
Yeah,
ago.
no,
Yeah.
he's a streamer to me, but he has the best matchup you can possibly have.
Sure.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
He's a guy
I'm with you. And you know what? It's really irking me right now because I want to put Wentz in, but there's something about the Giants that kind of freak me out when it's Philly Giants.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I just don't want to have to do that.
Have you seen the Giants this year, though?
I have.
I mean, their defense is kind of solid.
When you get that feeling,
We'll talk about
and not
Wentz,
to mention the fact when they won the Super Bowl, they went 0-2 to start the season. So
fun facts with Trav over here.
Dude, the Giants are
bringing
just
the
weird.
Stats. So a QB that I hate this week. Don't hate him as a person. Oh, sorry. I feel
Sure you do.
this quarterback should ride the pine.
Ride the
pine.
boogie bag.
Okay, Tyrod Taylor. It's a hell of a matchup.
Who likes
He's
Tyrod
playing-
Taylor? If you play fantasy,
Well, he's projected at 14. I think he scored 10 last week against the Panthers, who are a pretty damn good defense. I think Denver has an even better defense with better pass rush and better corners. He's projected at 14. I doubt he gets double digits.
right?
I didn't know we were doing our Ride in the Pine yet, but I guess I'll.
No,
jump
we're just
back in.
we're going back and forth. Yeah.
Back and forth
All right,
positions.
I'm just gonna. Just because you were talking about the Panthers, my Ride the Pine this week is Drew Brees. He's a guy that I do not like the
It's interesting.
matchup this week.
That was a definite.
Yeah, it's an interesting. He's a guy that he's supposed to put up a lot of points.
And
He's
never
going to be
does.
a high. You probably drafted him super high, but I just don't like him this week.
Yeah.
I don't like him on the road. I don't like. I think it's a really bad matchup for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't see much happening with their run game.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah, we'll
you
get
know,
to that later.
I'm going to double down on my hate with quarterbacks. Last week I had the same one. It's Dak Prescott.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm not on him. I think that Des Bryant's going to get fucking owned by Patrick Peterson, and that's kind of his blanket. He had two picks against the Broncos, although he did throw the 2 touchdowns. And
Yeah,
it is
so
the
he made
Broncos.
up for it. I think he had 15 last week.
Yeah, I just don't.
It's okay.
I think that Dak Prescott is a solid QB2, but I would not start him.
The other thing to add on that is I'd say that they go heavy with the run.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be up pretty early. I
Yeah.
think they're going to pick off Palmer a few times. I think they're going to
Sure.
be up pretty early. So speaking of the Cowboys, a player that I really like, which I know is super obvious, but again, like I'm going to double down on this. I'm saying Zeke Elliott comes back with the fury. If he doesn't have over 150 rushing yards, I'm going to consider that a loss.
Yeah, that's a guy
That's-
too. You should be able to pick up on the waiver wire, no problem.
Yeah, no big deal.
You know,
He's
so
probably on your
for all of you
waiver
guys
wire.
that don't have
I
running backs,
said these
just
are above
start Ezekiel.
projections. These are guys that I like above projections.
Yeah, and I should clarify too. Any information that I'm giving in terms of this is usually guys that are either on your bench or on the waiver wire for guys that are kind of scrambling, like me in one of my leagues. I'm 0-2. So, what are you gonna do? What
Not
are you
listening
gonna
to
do?
you.
So more risky calls than
More
Bills
risky.
start Zeke up.
Start Zeke Elliott, maybe
I just said
Le'Veon
it's a
Bell.
guy. Okay,
Listen, if
okay,
you're really
here's
hurting,
the caveat
start
that I
Julio
used
Jones.
was that if he doesn't get more than 150 yards rushing, then I
You'll
consider
be
that a loss.
you'll be
It's an L.
surprised.
Consider that a loss.
Fair enough. Just to clarify.
Just to clarify,
Just to
you
clarify.
bitches. All
Okay, so he started with a halfback that he loves.
Running backs. I talked about these guys in our matchups earlier. I have Derrick Henry this week. He's a guy that I really like. I also like Theo Riddick as
Yeah.
that passing back for Detroit. I feel like Amir Abdullah, he's been getting a lot of run, but he hasn't been doing too much with his run. I feel like they're going to use Theo Riddick a little more.
Theoretic is a hell of a third down catching back.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
I think they're going to bring him into the game a little more. Abdullah just hasn't shown the same burst that he had before his injuries. Also, another guy I like this week is James White. I like James
Yeah,
White a
love
lot.
James White.
Yeah, he's a guy
Love
that
James White.
I'm starting in all my leagues. Is like a
I just feel like
RB2
he
flex.
is the guy in New England, but he just never
Yeah.
goal line sniffs. You know
and
what I mean?
Rex
Like,
Burkhead hasn't been practicing this week.
But
Yeah.
say that's
So,
a rib injury, right?
That's another reason to like him. And a deep sleeper, someone that you might have been able to pick up a week ago, or
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell.
Nice.
Exactly. Yeah,
Nice.
playing against the Bears this weekend. No, CJ K. Chris Johnson in Arizona.
I did
feel
pick
like
him up. I'm not sure if I want to do anything with him right
You
now,
don't.
though.
even if
You
you
don't
don't,
wanna do
start him
anything.
this
No.
week, he's a guy that I think going forward is probably going to be the guy in Arizona for the next few
He
weeks.
has that potential,
No.
but I want to see it before I start him.
No, stay away from
well,
Arizona
you know
right
what?
now.
I
He had
want-
11 rushes for 45 yards last week.
Andre
or something
Ellington
like
had the
that.
most snaps last week, though.
But he didn't do anything with them.
I
I
know.
feel like Chris Johnson is my.
Your guy.
That's my-
I
You
met,
know,
I,
I
met,
kinda-
I met Chris
I
Johnson
kinda-
at a bowling alley once.
No more stories,
He was
Bill.
nice.
No more stories,
Nice
Bill.
man.
You're the
Listen
man.
to you enough.
That's it. You're done.
So Chris
I
Johnson came up and
I
said-
do want to come full circle back to that Abdullah. My two running backs that you should be able to get, probably not my first one, but the second one you could probably pick up, are Mark Ingram and Amir Abdullah. I do like Abdullah simply because he's coming off a W with 86 yards on 17 carries with a couple of big runs. But like I said earlier, which I was stating, that the Falcons, they gave up 14 catches for 122 yards to Cohen and Montgomery. What's Montgomery's first name? Not Mike?
Mike.
Okay.
No, Mike.
So I do like Abdullah over Theo Riddick, but we'll see how that pans out. It's kind of a crapshoot. Ingram I like because, like I said earlier, Hyde was allowed 77 yards on 15 touches, and I just think that Ingram is going to goal line sniff. I really do. I think that, for the exact reason you don't like Breeze, I think he's going to get him close, and Ingram's going to do the majority of the work.
All right.
So moving on to another player, if it was Roger Pine.
Riding that pine.
Agreeing with you, I think Henry's going to start to take over. So the guy that I say is ride the pine for you is if you have DeMarco Murray, I think you should sit him. He's projected at 10. He's coming off a hamstring injury. I think Henry just looks so much better this year.
Whoa. DeMarco Murray is way better looking than Derrick Henry.
So basically, I make all my projections based on how they look in the suit.
So Eric Decker, first overall. Danny Amendola, second overall.
He got 3 last week. He sat the fourth quarter because the game was pretty much well in hand. But I think Henry takes more of the carries. This is the year where we see Henry. So I think Murray.
I also
just
think
this week.
Tennessee plays DeMarco Murray's hamstring injury with a little more caution this week, which is another reason why I'm higher on Henry. So if he does play, which I don't know if he will, he probably won't get as many touches as he has been getting anyway.
Yeah. I do have 2 running backs that I hate. Hate is a strong word. That are going to ride the pine, if you will.
Riding the pine.
Frank Gore. It's time to let that one go, guys. The Colts are the fourth.
You hate Frank Gore so much.
I loved him in Frisco. He was actually one of my favorite running backs. Colts are 4th fewest yards and 6th fewest points. It's just he's got 88 yards on 24 carries. Nothing in the passing game. Not one catch. He's touchdown or bust. My number 2, this is more of the fantasy pickups that I've been getting questions about, is Chris Thompson in Washington. Rob Kelly hasn't missed a day of practice over that rib injury, and they just have a lot of depth at running back.
Yeah, I think P. Ryan's going to get some run there too.
Yeah.
Samaje P. Ryan.
Yeah.
That's one that I could see that for sure.
Yeah. So.
A guy that I don't know if you're sitting this guy if you have him, but it's someone I just don't expect a lot from this weekend, especially after his performance last weekend, is C.J. Anderson for the Broncos.
Yeah.
I think that Bills D is actually pretty decent.
Nice and hard.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to be all right. And plus you have they're really hard. Like, almost as hard as I am under this table right now.
That's so hot.
Yeah.
This podcast.
What was I
just took a
talking
turn.
about?
Yeah.
All my blood is
Who cares?
somewhere else.
Who cares?
But yeah, C.J. Anderson, I just don't see him doing exactly what he did last week.
That was.
So I think you're starting him if he's on your team, regardless, because there's a certain amount of running backs that are going to get touches, and you got to start him on volume. But I wouldn't
Stay away
expect
from daily.
Yeah, daily fantasy. I probably wouldn't. He's probably going to be highly owned anyways, and he's someone that I just don't see doing much versus the Bills this weekend.
Nice.
Sure. Yeah.
I want to move it into the wide receiver realm because majority of our advice is for PPR. So who do you have, if any, wide receivers?
Who are you feeling fine about?
Who are you feeling fine?
Feeling fine. Someone I like this weekend, Kelvin Benjamin.
Ooh.
Feeling really
Not giving
good
up.
about
Not
Kelvin
giving up,
Benjamin
huh?
this weekend.
He
Going
had 13
against
last week.
New Orleans.
All right.
I feel like you said, Cam, this is the prove it week for him. For most
put up
people,
a show.
It wasn't
fantasy-wise.
when you won the Heisman or when you won the national championship or you won the MVP or you went to the Super Bowl. This is the week.
No, this is the week. This is the week.
Damn, dude, he's our guest. Don't be a dick.
Look, the last 2...
Frank doesn't fuck around. He's tuned up, man.
What I want on Cam Newton is I want the splits from pre-blonde goatee and post-blonde goatee. All right? Because I think that is where his decline
Hashtag never
happened.
forget.
Exactly. Pre-blonde goatee.
Okay, so you're all in on wide receiver
I
too,
like Kelvin this
Benjamin.
weekend. Yeah, I like Kelvin this weekend a lot, especially with Greg Olsen out. I feel like he's going to force the ball to him.
That hurt. I have a lot of questions on tight end, so we'll definitely get to that.
Benjamin going this year was a guy who I thought would have been like a sleeper, maybe 10 touchdown.
Yeah, I still think it's possible.
I mean, if he has that weight down, like he was overweight coming in, and then he lost the
Stupid
weight.
overweight.
He looks good now. He's playing pretty decent. He's finding the ball up in the air, and he's a big body. And yeah, like you said, like replacing Olsen, I think
Yeah.
he's got. I mean, he's got to try to throw the ball
Yeah.
to him. Like him or Funchess, right?
Right.
Like there's no one really out there
Yeah.
other than
And
Benjamin.
another guy I like is kind of a sleeper who's probably on your roster that didn't play last week is Danny Amendola.
Yeah.
I like Amendola
Oh, he's great.
a lot this week.
No, but
He's been
there's
practicing.
an injury with them. But again, it's the Patriots, so you just
Yeah.
never know.
He's I like Danny Amendola
You
a
know.
lot this week.
That's the
So-
problem with Pat's player. If like fantasy Pats and fantasy don't mess with us enough as is.
Yeah.
You just never know when they're going to be healthy, and you
never
never know
know.
who's getting the ball.
Right.
You know,
That's
so
why
it's
I generally try to stay away from them, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I started
and I'm wrong,
Amendola
and I'm
week
wrong
one.
a lot because they're like, oh, start James White, and I just don't trust it.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you can get you 20 points, or you get you nothing. Like you can
Nothing,
get
yeah.
you another Jonas Gray situation, or
Right.
you know,
Right.
they just cycle in these running backs.
yeah.
New England's at home. They're playing against Houston, whose offense is probably they're gonna have a short field a lot. I don't know.
Right.
I feel like
I like it too. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I have two. These are both waiver wire guys, I believe. So we were all in on Kaiser, right? So he's got to have someone to throw to.
Yeah.
I'm going Rashard Higgins.
All right.
I like Rashard Higgins because Corey Coleman's out. He went 7 for 11 with 95 yards. So, you know, if nothing else, if he catches all 11 of those passes, that's 11 points right there. And also, Kenny Britt fucking sucks.
Yeah,
So
I
Yeah.
agree with that.
That's-
I mean,
that was-
Higgins is a guy coming out of Colorado State. I think he caught like almost 20 touchdowns in a year, so he has talent.
Yeah.
He's not like a random like Division III guy. He went to an okay school and did very well there.
Right. I
and
like
he
young
seems to have a good-
quarterbacks
good
with young rapport with,
Yeah.
with new guys. You know what I mean? It's weird when you see these young guys try to get rapport with old guys. It's just like, your time's done.
Gross.
It's gross.
Yeah,
It's very gross.
Stay away.
My number 2, this is another guy, and this is, Bill, I know you're going to be like, what? I don't like Jaguars in fantasy. It's not my thing unless it's Leonard Fournette.
Wait.
But I'm going Marquise Lee.
What?
I am going Marquise Lee. Oh, pew, pew, pew. Marquise Lee leads the team with 12 targets for 76 yards. Bortles is scared, and he'll dump it off a lot. And this was, remember we were saying earlier pre-podcast, it's a London game.
It's a London
Anything
game.
can happen.
Anything can happen.
It's
baby.
9:30 a.m.
They don't even know where they are.
We don't
They're
know.
just like,
We
what's
don't know.
going on?
They're like, dude,
You know what's the crazy part is they play on the other side of the field too.
what?
Yeah,
What?
they go the 53. They don't go the 100. It's London.
No.
So it's opposite.
No.
Just like driving on
These
the
are
street.
facts.
No.
folks. These are
what?
facts.
Pew, pew.
Wow, I hate Marquise Lee this week. I think they're going to be. I mean, I think the Ravens are just going to dominate that entire game. The only maybe saving grace.
We're gonna get
is-
some garbage time
is
Bortles.
Garbage time Bortles.
Oh yeah, baby.
That's the only saving grace for me for him because that Ravens defense is legit. A wide receiver that I really like as a number 2 or as a daily, depending
Well,
on his,
fuck
on
me,
his,
right?
on his price. So everyone was going.
yeah, fuck this guy.
Fuck
Everyone
me,
was,
you know?
is going super in on Devontae Parker. I really like Jarvis Landry
Always.
as opposed to Parker.
Always.
He had 13 catches for 78 yards. I mean, that's just the perfect Jarvis Landry game.
I don't think Parker
And-
practiced yesterday either, so I don't know if he has an injury or what's
Yeah.
going on.
Well, what did he
They told him
do
the day off.
fantasy wise
I
last
think
week?
he
too?
got Parker wasn't as great as everyone.
Well, he had
was
the one
thinking he
big
was
catch,
great.
right?
He had
Yeah,
the one big catch.
and maybe
Yeah.
I think he basically broke double digits. Maybe it was 10 or 11.
Okay.
somewhere around there. Landry got you 20 on 13 for 78, and I think Cutler likes him. I think he's a guy that can go like he does the screen routes, he does those little comebacks, those slants, and the offense has been for years get the ball to Landry.
Yeah.
For a couple of years now, and
He's
I
very talented.
really like him this
Yeah.
week, and I think he's gonna. He's projected for 12. I think he's going at least 18.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. All right. Do we have any tight ends, Frank?
Sure.
Well, are we doing some ride the pines for wide receiver?
Oh, geez. That's right. We do have to
Yeah,
ride
what
the
I want
pine.
to say that my ride in the pine is all Jacksonville wide receivers. All right, Frank, you're
All
up.
Jacksonville wide
Well,
receivers.
fuck me.
All right, sounds good. My
That's
ride
right.
the
We do
pine
need
this
to ride
week.
the pine.
Amari Cooper.
Ooh.
Amari Cooper riding the pine, just not into his matchup.
He's got a bad case of the drops too.
No.
Yeah.
It's Mike Evans-esque, if you will.
No.
He's gonna have Josh Norman on him.
Literally
I
not a
think
case.
last week when Derek Carr he was throwing it to the other side of the field to Michael
Crabtree.
Crabtree,
In the
and I
end
think
zone.
it's
It's
gonna
the
be a
way-
similar thing this
I
week.
think Crabtree's one of the most
Cooper-
underrated
Cooper's number in the red zone are just so low compared to all the other like number one wide receivers.
Yeah.
It's just Crabtree.
Crabtree has been their number one receiver statistically the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
It really has.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating too because
I know you're the numbers guy, Travis.
Yeah,
but,
I got numbers today, guys. I got numbers. No, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
do.
I think
do.
Amari Cooper. I'm not.
But do you
expecting much
do you
from him.
actually ride the pine with him, or do you put him in like a
I mean,
flex?
you stay away from him in daily.
Yeah,
right?
in daily fantasy, he's not a guy that I'm going after. I think it depends on who you have a wide receiver. I think it's a pretty deep position, but
Absolutely.
he's a guy that I'm not starting this week. I don't like him.
I like
Yeah.
it. I too have a
I
couple
like
ride
that
the
you
pines.
don't like him.
I like
Alright,
that you don't
good.
like him.
Good.
Let's see. I got two of them.
I
T.Y.
need the
Hilton.
validation.
T.Y. Hilton. No
Yes.
luck.
Yeah.
No luck.
No,
He's only got 106 yards.
That's the same word.
that's
And
very
it's-
clever.
it's
Did you
good.
see what I did there?
Double.
Do
you like
Double.
that?
The
Do you
1-2
like that?
turn.
It's the guy and what luck means.
It's exactly.
It's a character and a location.
No luck. No luck. He's only got 106 yards. He's got one reception for 16 yards, so he is not a deep threat, and the offense is going nowhere fast. Another guy
You
that
watch your mouth. Jacoby Brissett, Dwyer High School alum.
Jesus Christ.
He went to UM,
Oh,
then he
man.
went to
He
NC
went to UF.
State.
No, Brissett went to UF.
Was he UF or
Yeah,
UM?
UF. He went
Yeah,
to Dwyer
he's-
High School,
Oh,
my high
okay.
school.
Yeah.
And he went to UF, and then he went to NC State.
Moving on, I had
I am the foremost expert in Jacoby Brissett, just so you know.
It sounds like
Alrighty.
it. It sounds like it. We did get a question.
We did?
We did. Yes. From Mike.
I mean, we always get questions.
Mike from Peoria
This
asked
is not
us.
normal.
There's been a lot of buzz around Kenny Galladay.
Ooh.
So I say no. He was only.
You just say no to the question.
I say no. He was only targeted 3 times, only 8 yards. And listen, if you have Golden Tate, you have Eric Ebron, and you have Marvin Jones, I'm sorry, he's not a guy I'm starting.
Plus Theo Reddick. I mean, Galladay is a big target. I think he's fast, he's big, he can catch the
A
ball.
lot of preseason hype. He had those 2 touchdowns week 1.
Game 1, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I
I mean,
mean,
this is another op.
Is he a
I'm
sell
going.
high for you guys?
Listen, are you
Is he a
going?
sell
Are you going
high?
Galladay or are you going Jones? I'm going Jones.
I mean,
every
I'm
single
going
time.
Marvin Jones.
Yeah.
Because he's out there in 2 wide receiver sets.
Yeah.
Whereas Galladay, he's coming in the 3.
Right.
So,
Right. So that's where I'm at with that. Well, what are you riding the pines for wide receivers?
Oh, I said Jacksonville wide receivers. That was my.
That was literally what
yeah,
you're
that's
not-
what I
you're
wrote.
not being a
I literally
cunt?
wrote Jacksonville wide receivers.
God, I hate
Before
you.
we even started
I
this.
hate you.
I like it.
A tight end that I really like this week. Mainly, it's just matchup based. I know you're just hating on Jacoby Brissett, but I really like Jack Doyle. I think this is the one week we come out because he's playing the Browns. Browns are historically bad against the tight end. Your boy, old man Ben Watson, coming off the bench after the Ravens losing 3 guys to IR for tight end, and Watson comes in and puts up 17 points. I think Jack Doyle's a talented tight end.
Yeah.
He's got an okay rapport with Brissett, and
he
I
had
think
8 receptions last week, I think.
he
Yeah.
got you, I think, 15 last week.
Yeah.
He's projected for 8 this week. I think he's going to go above that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I
like
like
that
that call.
What do you got over there, Frank?
My, it's a guy you're going to start probably regardless, but I really like Zach Ertz.
Ooh, so
Zach
disagree.
Ertz.
Go ahead.
Zach Ertz.
Go ahead.
He's got a great matchup this week. They're playing the Giants, I believe, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and they were shredded last week at the tight end.
Zach Ertz
was-
got really lucky last game with that touchdown catch.
He did.
Though.
He did.
That
I mean,
was my
Carson
point,
Wentz
yeah.
has been getting lucky with some touch, like a lot of his
Stud.
throws.
I like him.
But Zach Ertz is a guy that I really like,
Okay.
and I also like Witten this week. as
Okay.
well.
Safe.
He had
I like
100-yard game.
Yeah.
I like it. My guy is Benjamin Watson. I do like Ben Watson. He was 100% 8 for
Benny
8
Watts.
for 91 yards. He's going against the Jaguars, who have a solid defense, but I think that they're going to be on the field too long, and eventually he's gonna do. This is a guy
Sure.
that you can pick up on waivers. I picked him up on both waivers in both of my leagues. Starting him in one of them. I think he's a tight end 1 potential.
Awesome. A guy that I feel should ride your pine is Zach Ertz. I think he.
Say that again. That was actually pretty. Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz. I think he got super lucky last week with that. It should have been a pick, even a pick 6.
Yeah.
And he got the long touchdown. I think the game before he only had a few points. He's just not a guy that I trust starting at tight end.
You have a lot of trust issues.
I do, especially
starting-
the tight end position.
Tight ends, man. I see that.
I played it in high school, so I have a very high.
Whoa, we're not talking high school ball.
Sorry, high school ball.
Oh, man. Jeez Louise. All right, do you have any tight ends that you want to ride the pine?
I've got 2 ride the pines at tight end.
Okay.
One guy who has been probably the biggest disappointment for me this year, Jimmy Graham.
Boom, that's who I got.
Jimmy Graham.
Dude, the numbers here. He's got a sore ankle, 4 receptions for 9 yards on 10 targets, and nothing in the red zone.
And their offensive line is so bad that they're probably going to use him to block if he even plays this week, and he can't block either.
Yeah.
So he's one of those guys that I really hate. And then another one, I just hate him. Oh God, he's pissing me off. Another one, Martellus Bennett.
Yeah, Charles Bennett.
Tell us why, because we're with you, but we have our own nickel and dime theory as to why that is.
I have my theory. You don't. Okay, you go ahead, Frank. Sorry.
Sorry
for interrupting.
Like the chemistry there.
Sorry.
I just think Martellus Bennett is a better character of a tight end than an actual tight end.
He plays a good one on TV.
He plays a good tight end. Like, he looks the part.
Magnum PI tight end, baby.
He used to be, like, pretty all right. But I just don't think he fits in that. I don't think they use the tight end that much in Green Bay. I see Jordy coming back this week, and I think it's a big week for Jordy, especially since he didn't really play last week. Mm-hmm. And I think they're going to be up on Cincinnati.
While I disagree that he's not a good tight end because I saw him in Chicago all those years, he absolutely is. I will say that the second part to that Aaron Rodgers just doesn't use his tight ends.
Yeah,
he just
doesn't use a tight end that much. And I think that's my thoughts on Bennett.
Cool. I like that a lot.
Not into him, all right?
Don't
so we're
like
both
it.
on Jimmy Graham. He's calling out Martellus Bennett. Do you have a ride the pine for tight end that wasn't previously mentioned?
No, Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
That's right.
I did want to say, Frank, we really appreciate your time
Frank,
here.
you were amazing.
But I think we want Steve
Can we
back
get Steve
real
back?
quick. But I do, real quick, though, Frank, I do want to give you a little gift for coming on.
All right, I'll take it.
Fuck Steven, but Frank will get it.
Yeah. No, my manager, Steve, doesn't get anything.
I know that you watch the games at home and you're so right all the time, you jump up and celebrate. So I think it might be a little wear and tear on the knees. So I'm giving you a little copper fit knee sleeve to save those knees.
Copper fit, baby.
Thank you so
Brett
much.
Favre.
Brett Favre.
You want to show the camera
Exactly,
there?
yeah.
Men in scoring position, you win gifts. You come on. That's what we do.
This is what it's all about.
That's what we do.
Just, when you're celebrating, you get up, oh, my knee. No, boom, right there.
Not anymore.
Copper.
Not anymore, Frank. Not anymore.
This is the best thing.
Just hold back the tears. Not here. Just promise us you'll come back on an episode.
No one's ever given me anything before.
All right, Frank, you've overstayed your welcome. Bring back Steven.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, do you want to plug your podcast again real quick, though?
You can go on iTunes, Calling It Now podcast with Frank Calhoun. We're on SoundCloud as well. You can follow my blog on my articles on TD Fantasy Network. Thank you guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Frank.
Frank apparently yodels when he cries. I don't know what's going on.
All right, let's bring back Steve.
Steven, where are you? Steven,
come back in.
Where are you at? Are you there? Oh, there he is.
Hey, Steve's back.
Back. All right.
Thanks so much for just the Frank, man. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Interesting fellow.
Yeah,
very
he's
direct.
There's a lot going on with him.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
A lot of issues.
Well, Steven, I know that
magazine's got so many issues. That guy.
I know that we put you in
Those
the
are
corner
jokes.
for a little bit, but we like to do a little bit of trivia here on the Men in Scoring Position
right, let's
podcast
do it.
on the plug.
So I thought
Plug
we
it.
just, we just get a little silly with it this week.
Get a little silly.
I thought we talked, since you enjoyed talking about the men's bodies so much, we're going to do a little NFL trivia real quick. All right. I'm gonna give you the question. I'm going to give you 3 options. You buzz in with your own name, okay?
Buzz in with your name.
With your own name.
Your name?
Buzz in
Your own name.
With your own name.
So I say,
You guys want
your own name.
Do you guys want to practice? Steve?
Steve.
Your own name.
Okay, fine, whatever. All right. Who is currently the tallest player in the NFL?
Travis.
Is it? I was going to give you...
Oh, my God.
Oh, okay, sorry. Well, that was all right. Go ahead.
All right, Trav, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Give the options.
No.
Give the options.
No, you buzzed in.
Give the
You buzzed
options.
in.
Kruger.
No,
I'm going to
incorrect.
say Ryan Mallett.
Incorrect. The answer is Nate Soldier. He's 6'10", left tackle. All right.
Alejandro Villanueva?
No, he's 6'9".
Oh.
I was going to give you Bennett as an option.
Mike
okay.
Glennon's
Anyways, Mike Glennon's nose.
Mike Glennon.
Who is currently the shortest player in the NFL? You guys let me do the options?
You go. You do them. All right, do the options.
We got Tariq Cohen,
Uh-huh.
Tyreek Hill,
Uh-huh.
Darren Sproles.
Travis Vince.
Wait, what's okay? Yeah,
I'm gonna go Darren Sproles.
Darren Sproles is correct at
Correct.
5'6".
Yeah, because I know
5'6".
that Tariq is 5'9".
Is he 5'9"?
5'9".
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Nice
5'9",
telling.
100.
Technically,
185 pounds.
what's his name? Humphrey's
I thought he
like
was
5'7".
5'7", yeah.
Humphrey's like right there too.
Okay.
All right.
So that's one for
One
Travis.
for Travis. Write that down. Just. Yep.
But
One.
write your own name.
Your own name.
All right. So we got 2 more.
How are you going to have an even number?
Who is currently
He hosts trivia. He can pull it off the top if needed.
who is currently the heaviest player in the NFL? Is it Nate Soldier? Is it Dontari Poe? Is it Haloti Ngata?
Travis.
Steve.
Travis.
I'm going to go Nate Soldier.
Nate Soldier's incorrect.
I'm going to say Haloti Ngata. I
Oh,
was
it's
going to
Dontari
say...
Poe.
Wait, so a guy
He's
that's
350.
6'10", a guy that's 6'10",
He's
is
like 320.
Oh,
I was
fuck.
going to say Eddie Lacy.
So he's lean.
That's,
Kelvin Benjamin.
Damn it! There goes my
I
joke.
know. I was
All
going to
right.
Eddie Lacy.
So how
that
about
one.
this, Steve? If you get this one right, then you win. Okay.
Well, this seems like a good game. I'm into this. All right.
All right. Who is currently the lightest player in the NFL? Is it? Is it?
Do we get options or
Is
you
it?
just
Okay, this is non-kicker. I was going to throw in kickers in there. Non-kicker.
non-kickers?
All right, we got.
The kicker is that there's no kickers in this category. See, I did the
We
last
got
thing. Remember when you did that?
We got
That was good. That was good.
Tyreek Hill. We have Taylor Gabriel or Tommy Lee Lewis.
Steve.
Taylor
Gabriel.
Gabriel's incorrect.
What?
I'm going to go Tommy Lee Lewis.
Tommy Lee Lewis weighing 165 pounds.
Can I be honest with you? I know I run a sports podcast, but I don't know who Tommy Lee Lewis is.
Well, actually, refer the Saints.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well,
See, I
I
didn't know that
figure,
one
Steve, we appreciate you being on here regardless. So
But I
thought,
just kicked your fucking ass.
Well, you know what? No,
Steve.
fuck you, Steve. Travis, you win. Travis, you win.
What do I
a
win?
set of decorative hand towels.
Whoa, a
Oh
candy
my
corn?
God.
I don't know, for Halloween.
Dude.
Seasonal too.
Seasonal towels, guys. But you know what? I wouldn't feel right taking these. This isn't correct.
No, you're right.
We do this every week. Steven, Frank got
We do their hand
something.
towels
So
every
you
week.
get hand towels now.
Dude.
Show some
This
excitement,
is
but
nice.
don't cry like Frank
I
did.
like these.
Okay.
I will actually use these. We need
Awesome.
some festive stuff at our apartment.
Awesome. Dude, Steven, thank you so much
that was
for coming
Yeah,
on the
thanks for
podcast
having
today.
us.
This was awesome. And tell Frank that we love him too. I think he's outside blowing some more, possibly.
Yeah, he's. He was
him
choked
stomping
up.
around.
He was choked up
Yeah.
when
Like he's
when he
gonna- she's
left.
trying to-
I haven't seen him like that before.
He's
You
making
guys
himself
really.
stop crying. He's like, I don't
he's-
cry anymore.
It's
Yeah.
not anymore.
He's an emotional guy. He's got.
Well, thank you for
Nice
coming so
dude.
prepared as well. Hopefully this was informative, guys. If you have any questions, remember, one more time, plug your fantasy football podcast.
Yeah, fantasy football podcast. It's called The Fantasy Focus on ESPN. No, it's,
I'm actually
Matthew
Matthew Berry.
Berry.
yeah, exactly.
You got a Twitter
Yeah.
and comedy and all that fun stuff?
Oh yeah, for comedy stuff, you can follow me at Old Hoovy Pants on Twitter.
Yeah, you should
and
spell
on
that.
Instagram. Yeah, Old Hoovy Pants. OldHoovey Pants.
Nice. How come we never think of stuff
Yeah,
like that?
come to a boy girl sleepover on Wednesdays, every other Wednesday.
At the Pony
You can-
Inn?
At the Pony Inn, you
On
can like
Ashland
us
and
on
Belmont?
Facebook. Yeah.
Nice.
Get some info on that.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then you got the Calling It Now podcast with Frank Calhoun, which
Don't
is
forget that guy.
Hey.
See, he's a guy.
he's a guy.
So awesome, man.
person.
Thank you so much for coming
Thank
on,
you.
guys. If you stuck through this whole time, you have any questions, thoughts, concerned, or any last minute, waiver wire, whatever you need to do prior to Sunday, just hit us up at any of our social media platforms, Facebook, SoundCloud, iTunes, all self-titled Men in Scoring Position. Follow us on Snapchat and Twitter at Men in Scoring POS. Remember, email us any of your thoughts, comments, general overall points of view to meninscoringpod@gmail.com. This will be uploaded tomorrow, Saturday the 23rd, I believe. Yep. And
Which is today for you.
and remember,
Hey,
which is today
today.
for you guys. And remember, if you like us on any of those social media platforms that we said, you get 2 complimentary tickets to the world famous Laugh Factory, Chicago, 3175 North Broadway. Billy, what do they always need to do?
Rate, review, subscribe, and tell a
A
friend.
plethora.
Cornucopia, if you will.
Nice. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be seeing you.